Hello, and welcome back to Language Launchpad, the podcast that helps you blast off into English proficiency. I'm your host, Clara, and today we're tackling a topic that is absolutely essential for every English learner, especially those just starting out at the A1 level, talking about the weather. It might sound simple, but it's a conversation superpower.
That's right, Clara, and I'm thrilled to be here with you today. My name is Leo, and I'm a language coach. When people ask me what the first thing A1 learners should master for real-world conversation, I always say the weather. It's truly universal.
Universal is the perfect word, Leo. Why do you think that is? Why is weather small talk such a fundamental part of English communication, and indeed, communication in many cultures?
Well, for several reasons. Firstly, it's safe. It's a non-controversial topic. You're not going to offend anyone by asking, "How's the weather today?" Secondly, it's always changing, so there's always something new to comment on. And thirdly, it affects everyone, whether you're planning your commute, deciding what to wear, or just thinking about your weekend. The weather plays a role. It's an instant common ground, a shared experience that allows you to connect with another person without getting too personal too quickly.
That's such a great point. It's like a linguistic handshake, isn't it? A way to bridge silence and open the door to further conversation. So, for our listeners who are at that A1 level, feeling a little nervous about speaking English, where do we begin with weather vocabulary?
Absolutely, Clara. A linguistic handshake. For A1, we want to focus on simple, high-frequency words. Think about the most common weather conditions you experience. We're talking about words like sunny, rainy, cloudy, windy, hot, cold, warm, and cool. These are adjectives, words that describe the weather. You can also learn basic nouns like sun, rain, clouds, and wind.
So, using those words, what are some of the most basic questions and answers an A1 learner should have in their toolkit?
Okay, let's start with the absolute classics. The most common question is, "How's the weather today?" or "What's the weather like?" Very simple, and the answers are just as straightforward, usually starting with it's. So it's sunny, it's rainy, it's cold. You can add a bit for nuance, like it's a bit cloudy. Another useful question is it going to rain? And the answer could be, yes, it is, or no, it isn't, or even, I think so, or I don't think so.
I love how direct and practical those are. It really takes the pressure off, knowing you don't need complex sentences. What about slightly more descriptive phrases that are still A1 friendly?
Good question. Beyond the basic "it's sunny," you can add a little more detail. For example, if it's really sunny, you might say, "It's a beautiful day," or "the sun is shining." If it's raining heavily, "it's pouring," or "it's raining hard." If it's cold, "it's freezing." These are still very common and understood. Another one is, "looks like rain later," or "it's getting warmer." These phrases combine simple observations with common, everyday expressions.
Those are fantastic. Let's think about how this would sound in a real-life situation. Imagine you're at a bus stop, waiting, and someone else is there. How might an A1 learner initiate a conversation about the weather?
Perfect scenario. An A1 learner could simply say, "Hello, how's the weather today?" And the other person might reply, "Oh, it's a bit cold, isn't it?" Then the learner could say, "Yes, it is. I hope the bus comes soon." Or if it's sunny, "What a lovely day." The other person might say, "Yes, perfect for a walk." And the learner could respond, "I agree." See how simple it is? It just opens up the interaction.
That's so encouraging. It really shows that you don't need to be fluent to start connecting. What are some common mistakes A1 learners might make, and how can they avoid them?
One common mistake is overthinking it. Trying to translate directly from their native language might lead to awkward phrasing. For example, instead of "it's sunny," they might try to say, "the weather is sun." We need to remember the English structure, it's plus adjective. Another mistake is worrying too much about pronunciation. At A1, focus on being understood, not on having a perfect accent. My advice is, listen carefully to native speakers, repeat what you hear, and don't be afraid to make small errors. That's part of learning.
Excellent advice, Leo. Listen and repeat is foundational. And I think many learners are afraid of making mistakes, but that's how we learn, right? So how can our listeners practice this at home or in their daily lives?
Absolutely. Mistakes are our best teachers. To practice first, look out your window every morning and describe the weather aloud in English. It's cloudy today. It's a bit windy. Second, find a language partner, or even just talk to yourself or your pet. Pretend you're having a conversation. Third, watch short English videos or listen to simple podcasts that mention the weather. You'll pick up new phrases naturally. And finally, when you encounter a native English speaker, even if it's just someone you see regularly, make eye contact and try a simple, "Nice day, isn't it?" It builds confidence, one small step at a time.
Those are fantastic, actionable tips, Leo. It makes it feel less daunting and more like an enjoyable part of the learning journey. So, to wrap things up, what would be the single most important takeaway you'd want our A1 listeners to remember about talking about the weather?
The most important takeaway, Clara, is that talking about the weather is your gateway to real-world English conversation. It's not just about describing the sky. It's about connecting with people. It's a low-pressure way to practice your speaking, build confidence, and demonstrate that you can engage in English. Don't underestimate its power. Start simple, use those basic words and phrases, and just try it.
Wonderful. And I'd add to that, remember that even native speakers use very simple language when talking about the weather most of the time. So you're not expected to be a meteorologist. Just focus on those key phrases and vocabulary we discussed today. It's a skill that will serve you incredibly well as you continue your English journey.
Couldn't agree more. It's foundational.
So whether it's sunny, rainy, or a bit cloudy where you are, go out there and practice talking about it in English. A huge thank you to Leo for joining me today and sharing such valuable insights for our A1 learners. It's been incredibly helpful.
My pleasure, Clara. Happy to help our listeners feel more confident.
And thank you, our wonderful listeners, for tuning into Language Launchpad. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and we'll catch you next time for more tips on your English learning adventure. Goodbye for now.